Hi everyone. This lighting sucks. Hang on. Woo! Jeez, that is bright. Okay. Too bright. Whatever. It'll do. So I am so sorry that it has taken me so long to do this TED Talks. I have been crazy busy. It's just been insane. I've really had a crazy year, which has been such an incredible blessing, but at the same time, I haven't had the time and the space to do the things that I am really super passionate about. Aside from motherhood, which is, my first, my prime passion, my next one is doing these TED Talks and working on your Zen life. And so I have finally realized that I can get a babysitter, and the babysitter can come for a few hours, a couple of times a week, and I can get these TED Talks done. So today the babysitter is my mum. So yes, I am going to do a few of these actually today. I'm going to do a bunch in a row and then do a few over the next couple of weeks. So there will be more TED Talks, and thank you for being so patient with me. And I've been loving getting your emails, and it's really profound to me that it's having such a positive impact on you guys. So thank you. Okay, so today I wanted to talk a little bit about it's funny, I can hear Bodhi bang. I bought him a little kitchen, one of those play kitchens today, and he's like banging the pots and pans and he's doing the cooking. It's really sweet. So I wanted to talk about like setting healthy boundaries. This is something that I have really implemented over the last few months with various people in my life. And I'm such like a warm and I'm a really compassionate person, and I love getting into it with someone and really getting deep and being just our authentic selves with one another. I really feel proud that the relationships I have in my life, whether they be friends or, with my husband or children, they're so like based on real stuff, which is really nice. But at the same time, with that sort of deep connection, whether it's with your friends or your family, there can become times where the connection is so deeply rooted and you're leaning on each other so much for support that it can get uncomfortable, or you start taking each other for granted and you don't treat each other with the same level of love and kindness and respect as you would someone you're meeting for the first time, or a new friend. And that's something that I really want to talk a little bit about. I think we become really desensitized, and then just we fall into these habits of communicating with one another in a certain way. And I realized that you need to have some pretty clear and open boundaries. What I mean by open is just there's no sense coming up with a boundary for yourself in regards to a friend or a partner and not feeling comfortable to share that. And I think the relationships that you want in your life are relationships that you just want to have the open dialogue. You want to say like, hey, I totally appreciate what you're moving through right now, and I just have to speak authentically and say that I really need to like set a boundary for me because of A, B, and C. I remember getting into a situation a while ago where I had a person who was really going through it, like really doing the hard yards, and was really feeling challenged and conflicted and dark, and I really felt like I was being a pillar of strength in many ways. And then at a certain point, I realized that I couldn't engage in this type of communication with this person any further because it was starting to become detrimental to our relationship. And I it was like it hit me over the head. Oh, I need a boundary. Like, I need a boundary because it doesn't feel okay. And the first few times that we would engage in this conversation, this way of talking with each other, you know, sometimes it would sting, and I'd kind of just take it and move through it and just think, well, this person's going through a lot, so I'm going to take it. Then I realized that ultimately I was doing a disservice to them as well as myself, because I was enabling that behavior by not saying what my boundary was. So what I said, I had my little line, and I was like, hey, I'm not comfortable engaging with you in this way, and I really encourage you to either deal with this on your own or take it to someone else who can handle this level of communication. And at a certain point, I realized that in forming my boundary, not only was I showing myself love and compassion, I was certainly doing the same thing for that person. And since then, the person's come back to me and has really, really acknowledged that the way in which we were relating with one another was unhealthy and unfair. And I felt empowered, because I can be a bit of a pushover sometimes. I really can be. And in this moment, I was like, no, I gotta say what I'm feeling. I gotta say what I'm running up against right now, and just speak my truth. And that's what I did, and the relationship since then has really flourished, and that's been a really amazing thing. So I just wanted to encourage you, whether it's a relationship with someone that is a peer or a friend, someone at work, a father, a mother, whatever, if something rings really hurtful to you and something doesn't feel right and you continue to push into this discomfort, I think it's cool that you can, you know, keep your side of the street clean. I think that's important, to really look at why you're feeling uncomfortable. And at a certain point, I think it becomes pretty clear when you're really leaning into that work and like just dissecting where this feeling's coming from, whether or not there's truth in the fact that you feel like you're being treated in a negative way or not. And, you know, initially I was looking at it, I was like, oh gosh, am I feeling uncomfortable because this is triggering, you know, some sort of feeling I had when I was a teenager, or a feeling of abandonment, or am I feeling uncomfortable because I'm bored of talking about the same thing over and over? Was it just a self-centered feeling? I was feeling like, oh, I can't be bothered talking about this. And it wasn't that. It was that I wasn't sticking up for my feelings, and I was just kind of getting bulldozed at that time. And it just is a really like liberating thing to speak your truth and stand up for what you believe in. And I think it really, for me, had made such a radical impact on my relationship with this person that I really encourage you guys, if you have something going on in your life where you feel uncomfortable in the way in which you're communicating with one another, or you're feeling bullied by someone, let's say it's someone at work, even a boss, someone you look at as, you know, even a mentor, or a person that, even though we should never do this, you think of as greater than, and you think of yourself as less than, it's even more powerful and more empowering to do it in that situation. It is so easy to become squashed by a person, and typically their stuff is coming from a dark and sad place, and whilst you can meet them with love and compassion, you can't override how that impacts you, and you need to take care of yourself energetically. So please don't be afraid to set a boundary. Whatever that boundary is, whether it's like, I don't want to engage with you in this situation. There's an extremely religious person in my life, and I just set a boundary because we would always go down these crossroads and we'd end up in some sort of debate surrounding spirituality versus religion. And just the organization and like, you know, Vatican II versus the Vatican versus, you know, God and everyone being equal. And it was like really intensely, we really challenged each other. And that's when I was like, oh, you know what? I gotta draw a boundary that we don't actually talk about religion when we're around each other. Totally respect each other's differences. And the boundary is like, hey, let's not even touch on that because it's not going to get us anywhere. I'm not going to convince you one way. You're not going to convince me one way. Let's just leave that. Or a boundary about, hey, you know what? I can't engage with you in this conversation about you, for instance, cheating on your partner. I don't feel comfortable. I need to put a boundary up there. I recognize and understand that that's your life. Oh, can you see the little hand? Oh, you see his little hand there? I know, Baba. Mama almost done. Mama almost done. Yeah, so it actually ends up establishing relationships based on truth. And if for whatever reason you set your boundary and it goes pear-shaped, then it wasn't supposed to be. And I truly believe that there's no reason going through life not being who we really are. I mean, what's the point of that? To me, it's such a waste. I don't ever feel like I'm really living when I'm not doing that. So I also wish when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and I know a lot of you guys watching it are super young, I remember I would constantly be feeling horrible about myself. I'd be feeling shame. I'd be involved in these conversations that just didn't feel right. Yet I remained silent and I didn't draw a boundary and I didn't say, hey, you know what? Like, I understand that you guys want to engage in this behavior, but it's not for me and I need to pull myself out of this right now. And I really wish I had done that because I think high school would have been a much more just enjoyable experience. And I wouldn't have felt the need to have this facade for so many years and stay quiet about certain things that I didn't feel comfortable about. So please do that. Please set your boundaries and tell me what they are. Like in the comments, I love hearing, you know what? Like I was having this situation with my boss and I set a boundary and this is what the outcome is. And that's amazing. I love hearing the feedback. It's so, I just feel like I'm flourished from that. It's just an amazing feeling and it keeps me wanting to do more and more of these talks. And anyway, so I love you guys. Again, thank you so much for being patient and I'm about to do another one. So you'll see that one soon too. Okay, bye.